Hey, everybody. This is Scott Schimmel, your consummate host of the U School podcast, and I'm here live in studio, sort of, with my new friend, Kevin Kirk, a former Navy SEAL, now is the director of a nonprofit called Make a Wave Foundation, working with students. And so, Kevin, first of all, welcome to the show. And then secondly, I know when people hear former Navy SEAL, they conjure up all these images. And so maybe you can just kind of tee us up for what was your role within the Navy and then a quick bridge to what are you doing now?
Yeah, so 9/11 happened when I was in college, and I realized that I wanted to serve, the nation. I wanted to be part of the best, so I focused in on the Navy SEAL program. It took me about 6 years to get in. Once I graduated college, I had actually tried to sign up, but I failed the color vision test.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so to make a very long story short, it actually took me 6 years to prove to the military that I could in fact see colors. So yeah,
you were just dumb, not blind.
Color deficient is.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, excuse me. I didn't want to offend.
It never affected me in real life. Obviously, the Navy has to be very selective of people. Obviously, you don't want somebody going in that can't see colors. That could be very detrimental.
Which, by the way, I'm colorblind, so I'm not going to take any of this personally. I'm sure I would have been a Navy SEAL as well if I had been able to see colors.
Yeah, what wound up happening was I got denied for many, many years, and I never gave up on it. And I wound up doing a lot of fundraising for the Navy SEAL Foundation, which is a foundation that supports Navy SEALs and their families. So I did that. I was doing like a half Ironman. I would raise money for the Navy SEAL Foundation. Then I did a full marathon. Then I did a full Ironman. And with each of these events, I was pushing myself to become better. But at the same time, I wanted to support the community that at that time I could not be a part of. So I did that for about 4 years. And eventually I had kind of gotten noticed by the right people for supporting the community. And they said, we want to retest you. We've seen that you won't give up, which is a personality trait that goes far with the SEALs. And by that time,
what did you call it? What did you call it?
Well, I mean, ultimately perseverance.
Okay. Yeah.
Perseverance. I just would not give up. And I knew that about myself, and that's probably my strongest trait. So during that meantime of doing all the fundraising, I had actually bought the color vision machine. So for the last couple of years, I had been prepping for this moment. And I got to Groton, Connecticut, and took the test. And luckily, like I said, I already bought the machine. I already taken that test a couple thousand times at that point. So I passed that test, and only took me 6 years. But yeah, so I went in at 28. So I was a bit older. The average age is probably around 22. 28 is actually the cutoff. I just missed it by a few weeks. So definitely blessed for that. And then I got to BUDS, which is Navy SEAL training. And that is, they make a very long story short. Again, that's a butt kicker. And for me, it was an extra butt kicker. That was a very, very tough program, both mentally and physically. And, I wanted to be challenged. I wanted to see the world, both the good and the bad, so I could appreciate the good. And my time in the teams, I got to do both. So I feel very blessed to be on the path that I'm on. There's been pain in my life, but I always say that it's my job to turn that pain into something positive. And sometimes it's easy to find that, and sometimes it's hard, but you always have to be looking.
So tell me about Make a Wave Foundation. What's the transition from the Navy to nonprofit working with schools?
Yeah, as kind of perfect lead-in, right? There was some pain in my life that I wanted to turn into something positive, right? So the backstory on that is I had returned from Afghanistan in 2013, and I was stationed in Virginia Beach at the time, but my family lived in a little town in Connecticut called Bethel. So I visited there for the holidays, visited my family, my two brothers, Ryan and Tim, my parents. And unfortunately, while I was visiting home, my brother Ryan passed away, which was extremely tragic for me. Not to get into great detail, but I was unfortunately the one that found him. So it was a big shock to me, to say the least. And my brother was an amazing guy. He had his share of troubles. He had been an alcoholic until he was 32 years old.
Mm.
He passed away at 36. So I always say, if he had passed away when he was 32, he would have left a legacy of, hey, this is why you don't drink, right? Because it
Right.
can kill you. But he didn't drink. He stopped that and completely turned around his legacy.
Mm.
He got really big into the AA program. He loved to volunteer. He was a shift supervisor over at the local homeless shelter, and really he just became somebody that the family was so proud of.
Mm.
And that journey of seeing him struggle inspired me.
Mm.
My father was an alcoholic as well, and it was they were going through their fight right around the time that I was going through my fight in SEAL training. And on graduation day of my SEAL graduation, which was 6-8 years in the making, I got to stand there with my brother and my father and tell them that they were my inspiration.
Mm.
And I took off my SEAL trident, which is the most important thing to a SEAL. That's saying what we do, and I gave it to my father. Obviously, he's not a SEAL, but he just inspired the hell out of me. So that was a very proud day. Sorry to get back. So when it was time to remember my brother, at his service, we asked others to not bring flowers or anything like that. That's not really what my brother lived for. He lived for being kind to others and serving others. So we asked others if they feel appropriate to do an act of kindness in my brother Ryan's name. And we set up a Facebook memorial page called Letters for Ryan, and just asked others if you feel to please share your act of kindness on that page. We didn't really know what we were expecting. And within 24 hours of saying goodbye to my brother formally, all of a sudden, all these ways of positive acts of kindness just started rolling in. And we found ourselves as a family crying tears of happiness and not tears of sadness within 24 hours of saying goodbye to him. And we really thought that there was something special there. There was something that was very unique in the healing process with us there that I really focused in on, whether I knew it or not at the time. I knew I was part of something special there. And that went on for probably about 2 months, and we saw that the activity really started to slow down as people moved on with their lives as they should. And for me, it hit me in my heart that my brother's work was done. And I also realized that there was nothing I could do to bring him back. It made life and death very final for me, and I really took a look at my own life and tried to find a different type of meaning, and really looked at my brother's life for that inspiration. And I always say my brother wasn't a rich man. He didn't have money or anything like that, but I always say that he left us the greatest gift that you can through death, which is inspiration. Inspiration to be a better person, inspiration to be kinder to others, inspiration to find ways to serve others more. Obviously, you got to take care of yourself. I'm not saying that, but
Sure.
he really left a beautiful legacy. And I looked at that legacy and just thought of ways to keep that going. And I would talk to my brother Tim about it, who's he's living in Texas with his family, and his now wife came up with the idea of passing a coin. So at the beginning, it was a coin that would be passed through acts of kindness. So say you go to Starbucks and just ask the barista, hey, next person that orders medium coffee today, it's on me. Just they find out that it's for free, just pass them on this coin, right? And on the back of that coin would be the link to the URL for the Facebook page for Letters for Ryan. So that was the seed that really built Make a Wave. And we sat on that. We talked about it a lot. We kind of came up with some designs, but we never really moved forward with it. I think we knew it was a great concept, but we also knew that it was a bit temporary. I don't think it was a Band-Aid.
Right.
I don't think we expected it to really flourish the way that something could in my brother's name or somebody else's name as well. So what we did, and we just kept picking at it, and it was always on the front part of my brain, which is really where you want your ideas that you're creating to be. And one night I was in between sleep and consciousness, that weird kind of vulnerable stage, and all of a sudden in my dream, I saw the back of that coin, and it didn't have the URL anymore. It had a serial number.
Mm.
And I woke up, and this is, I'm not an overly spiritual guy, so this was new to me.
Yeah.
And I just knew that I was given some sort of inspiration to work on,
Mm.
and I worked on it. Just built the vision out. I didn't sleep for 3 days and 3 nights. Actually, probably about 2 hours of sleep total, which wasn't foreign to me. But there's that thin line between madness and creativity. I was definitely on that threshold, but I was loving the journey. This is all new to me.
Well, new mission too to get prepared for.
100%. And I was going through my military transition at that time. So for me, I've had 2 callings in my life. One was to be a Navy SEAL, which was not easy,
Mm-hmm.
and then to make a wave a reality, which has been a journey, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's
so why students? Why schools? Why students?
Yeah. So when we started Make a Wave, we realized that we had a way through that on the back of that coin where that inspiration wound up going was that on the back of the coin, it would lead that person that gets past the coin to makeawave.com. So you read on the back where to go. And then once you get to our website, it's going to ask you for the specific serial number on the back of your coin. Mm. Once you type in that coin, it unlocks the journey and the message of that coin, right? So you can see all the acts of kindness that led it to you. You can see a little positive impact map, so you can track the coins. That's and cool. All the stories of all those.
Yeah, you're a part of something now.
Yeah. We realize you always hear about, one act of kindness can change the world, right? What we really thought was that, we can prove that. We can prove that one act of kindness can change the
You're
world.
Trying to operationalize it, turn it into a strategy.
Exactly. So our mission now at Make a Wave is we multiply the good. And that really comes full circle with who we are and what we're trying to do. So, once a viewer looks, at that coin's profile, they're driven to do an act of kindness to continue that chain of positive impact. And that's the way that we really focused on at the beginning, was the acts of kindness. And we played around with that, had some good coins get out there, do some amazing things, people getting, $100 tips and things like that. But then I had a teacher in Virginia Beach contact me. We were the same group of friends, and she told me that she would love to use the Make Wave coin in her classroom, which was something. Before that, it was, a way to remember lost loved ones. You could create a profile for that coin to hold that remembers your lost loved ones, so all the acts of kindness would be in their name. That was our original vision. Okay. And then we got some coins started in her class. And I think everybody that knew about the project just fell in love with it. Seeing the purity that the students have when they pass on the coin, it's so genuine and extremely refreshing. So we knew that school was going to be a major focus of ours. So I got a couple more coins going for beta testing. And there was a school down in Texas that took the inspiration from Rosemont Elementary in Virginia Beach, that previous school. And she took a look at that and wanted to try it a little bit different. So the way it worked in her school was that the coin got passed from class to class, which is different to us. It wasn't getting passed student to student. And the act of kindness wasn't happening between the students and the classes. It was actually getting done to the community. So, for example, if I was a teacher and the coin got passed to my class, I would gather my students around and say, hey, this is a Make a Wave coin. Its mission is to make the world a better place. It's now our assignment to plan and complete an act of service to the community. And then they pass it on to another class to continue that chain. And I didn't really know what to expect when I heard about the plan. But then once I saw it executed, I was absolutely blown away. These weren't small acts of kindness happen anymore. This was major positive impact happening in their community that the students were leading and that the students were a part of. And it inspired all of us to work so much harder to make a Wave a reality. I'm sure you can tell I'm getting getting excited talking about the direction it's going. I'm so passionate about it. So we had they
Mm.
actually did a food drive for one of their first acts of service, and I was expecting maybe raising, 45 pounds of food or something like that,
Mm.
which would have done great, right? They
Right.
raised 1,800 pounds of food
Oh my
for the
gosh.
home shelter, which provided 938 meals for that
Wow.
community.
Wow.
And can you imagine being in fourth grade and realizing that you have the power to impact the community like that when you come together?
Mm.
So we really, from that point on, our focus really changed from promoting kindness to really promoting the power and possibility of unity and teamwork.
Mm.
What can we do when we all work together?
Mhm.
Which kind of leads us into the direction that we're going into the upcoming school year, which is we're really, like I said, we multiply the good. So when we saw that, we said, how do we make this a little bit bigger?
Right.
So moving forward, it's actually going to be passed from school to school.
Sweet.
So the whole school will come together to do an active service to the community, and then they'll pass on the coin and just keep that going.
Mm.
Wait,
I love it.
that might seem like a very simple concept, but the impact that can do on a macro scale is absolutely amazing.
Right. Right.
For some of the people that like data out there or numbers, I'm not a mathematician, but but I respect it and I know its value. So if you were to take the average number of students in a United States middle school, it's 600, right? So if we got 100 coins out there this school year, if those coins just got passed on one time
Mm.
by a whole school in the United States, that would be 60,000 students coming together
Mm.
to make their community a better place.
Mm.
We're trying to create systems and processes where it would take about 2 months for the school to plan and execute that passing,
Mm.
which would bring it around that coin being passed 5 times that year,
Mm.
right? So if that if these coins start to get passed 5 times this year, just 100 coins in a year brings together 300,000 students to make the world a better place.
Wow.
If we started with a senior class and just said, "Hey, it's your job to lead your school through this assignment," by the
Right.
time they're at their 10-year anniversary, those 100 coins will affect and positively impact 3 million
Jeez.
students.
Well,
So
now,
uh, it just really it kind of blew our minds a little bit once we looked at the numbers and
yeah.
just how simple this can be. So now we're really focused on bringing in principals and school systems that are looking to use technology to teach their students lessons about teamwork, unity,
Mm.
service to others. Really, just making the world a better place. That's what it's all about and promoting.
Well, I was taking notes as you're talking and try to imagine principals who have students that are learning these lessons from you, even from your own story. When you have setbacks, when you have roadblocks, become the kind of person who doesn't get overwhelmed or crushed by them. You keep going. You buy the colorblind machine and you learn it. You figure out a way. You have pain and loss and trauma in your life, and you figure out what to do with that. And again, not to be overwhelmed, but to transform that, redeem that. You learn these lessons of that your life has the power to make a difference. Like literally, if you're listening to this and you're a school leader, an activities director, ASB, principal, imagine your students learning those things. What would happen if your students are learning those lessons? What would happen to their learning? What would happen to their attendance? What would happen to a sense of inclusivity on campus, this bullying? And imagine if young students were figuring out my life has purpose. The pain I've been through is worth something. I can make a difference in this world. I don't have to get up.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. At the core of MakeWave, what our goal is in its simplest form is we're looking to bring people together so that they can feel part of something bigger than themselves.
Mm.
I was blessed with the military and
Hmm.
teams in general to always feel like I was part of something bigger,
Yeah.
but not everybody has that. And I think MakeWave Coin for some of the students that aren't
Hmm.
on teams and things like that could really bring them in, get them social, make them feel like they're part of something positive.
Yeah.
Also, one of the stories on or bullying with the coin. So there was, and this goes back to the student to student when it's passed from student to
Yeah.
student back in Virginia Beach. there had been a student there, and this is a third grade classroom, and the student was beginning to display behavior of bullying,
Mm-hmm.
right? And this is a class where the make-a-wave coin is passed.
Mm-hmm.
So the student that was holding the coin that week decided that they were going to do their act of kindness to the bully.
Mm.
And that act of kindness was completed, and talking with the teacher, that bullying stopped afterwards.
Wow.
And that bully passed on that coin in one of my favorite acts of kindness, which I won't get into, but yeah, it really came full circle with that coin, and just seeing that, just including others. The teacher in Rosemont Elementary, she describes it as, when somebody gets passed down that coin, it's like their birthday.
Hmm.
Like when you're that age, it's
Yeah.
your birthday is such a special day. Well, that's the same feeling that these students are getting. So just knowing that those, there's coins out there just really helping our students become kinder and learn how to work as a team to make the world a better place is just,
Yeah.
I have the best job in the world,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Well, something tells me that you're going to figure this out and figure out a way to get this into every school across the country.
Well, you said the country.
Oh, excuse me. Beg your pardon, sir.
This is, we've spoke before. This is my why. This is my passion. I don't want to use the word obsession, but this is my calling, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll never turn away from it. So you are correct. I will keep going until I feel like this is doing what it can. It's my job to do so. I'm not the creator of this. I'm just the head volunteer, and I'm the guide. So,
well, tell me how to find you. How do we get in touch with you? How do we bring you to our school?
Yeah. So my email is Kevin Kirk. That's KIRK at makeawave.com.
Okay. And that's the website, makeawave.com.
Yeah, the website's up there, and there's some contact information as well.
Great.
And then on Instagram, we are Make a Wave Foundation.
Great.
And Facebook, we are Make a Wave.
Awesome. Well, Kevin, thank you for being a part of the show, for Friend to You School. And we can't wait to partner with you and imagine students learning these deep things about life at a young age. I think of maybe a generation ahead of us that are in the twilight of their lives, in their retirement, trying to figure out, how do I make a difference now? Like, imagine if we flipped that, and kids as they're starting life knew that's what life is all about. So thank you for what you're doing, and bless your work. I hope it grows across the world.
Thanks a lot, Scott. Appreciate your time.